I was looking at the app I like to use to find free mowers when I saw the ad for this one. Unfortunately, it wasn't free, but they were asking an incredibly low price for what looks like an almost brand new mower. But you can't judge a project by looks alone, so we're going to treat this one just like any other project. But this one has a surprise waiting for us, and it only brings up more questions than answers. In today's video, we're going to be looking at this very new Toro lawnmower. And the problem is that, according to the ad, they weren't able to get it started. But the weird part was that after I paid for it and before I loaded it in the back of the truck, I tried to start it and you know what? It started. I then carefully put it into the back of the truck, drove it home, and here it is. Now I have to figure out why they couldn't get it to start. Now this engine has an automatic choke, which means no priming, just pull on the rope and it should start. The power behind that pull really isn't an issue because my pulls have always been light, so they should have been able to do the same thing. The gasoline and oil is what came with it, so they shouldn't have any effect between me starting it and them. The oil level and its condition is almost spot on, and it looks to be almost brand new as well. The only obvious problem is that the air filter is missing, probably from them trying to start it. So in the meantime, we'll install this used filter for testing and replace it later on with a new one. Now despite this mower looking almost new, there is one part of the mower that could use a little bit of help, and that is under it. What you're seeing is a couple of seasons of buildup from being used in wet conditions, not to mention on bare spots in the yard. And from the stickers on this mower, it confirms that it is indeed about 2 years old. The only thing left to do now is to start the engine and show you how it's running. So it's been running for a while now, and the engine should be good and hot. Let's see how it starts back up. And as you just saw, even with a soft, slow pull, it started with no issues whatsoever. There was no sputtering or hesitation, it started just like it should have, so what were they doing wrong? We are going to come back to this question later on. Right now, I'd like to get all that dirt off from the mowing deck. Now it's unfortunate that the paint couldn't stick around, but that's what happens when you don't clean it. And after giving the rest of the mower a quick spraying just to get rid of any dirt, we'll let it dry off. So what's the plan for this mower then? I mean, it already starts and runs, shouldn't we just give it a long test run and be done with it? To be honest, with it being as new as it is, you could probably argue that it's good enough to use or sell if that's what you plan on doing. But for me, however, I'm going to go way beyond that and make sure it's caught up on all its maintenance before I use it and ultimately sell it. But why go through all that work? Well, the answer is simple, because that's what I would want from a mower, so that's what I'm going to give it. So the plan is to service the mower by sharpening and balancing the blade, cleaning and lubricating the wheels, and finally checking the valve clearances. Now the blade is in surprisingly good condition, only exhibiting some surface rust, and after sharpening it and checking the balance, we'll put it back on. Normally, I wouldn't use a 2x4 to help install the blade, but whoever installed it before had the bolt on so tight I needed it just to loosen the bolt. Next, we're going to tip the mower backwards. This will help to get all the oil out from the valve cover so there'll be less mess when we check the valve clearances. And to make rotating the engine just a bit more convenient, we're also going to take off the recoil assembly. Now you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but it does make filming just a bit easier too. And while the front wheels are off the table, this will be a good time to service them. Now these wheels are a bit tricky in that you need to hold onto the nut on the back to loosen them. After that, we'll clean off any dirt and rust off the bolts, apply a grease of your choice, and then reinstall them. These weren't that bad, but some of the buildup was a bit stubborn and needed a bit more persuasion to come off. So you don't need to make these look perfect, just a lot cleaner than they were before. It's also your choice as to what kind of grease to use. It can be light or heavy duty. But just keep in mind of what it's going to be like the next time you have to try and clean it. I'm choosing to use a light grease so it'll be easy to clean and reapply the next time. Of course, it's also up to you if you choose to not use any kind of grease to avoid dirt from collecting there. So is this worth doing? Well, it is to me, but I've heard plenty of viewers say it's worthless, but I'll leave that choice up to you. If you don't feel like doing it because it's too much trouble, then how about doing it the easy way then? Just spraying a lubricant around the wheel and bolt is not an ideal way to do it, but it's better than nothing at all. So after several minutes in this position, we should be ready to inspect the valves. To make it even easier to rotate the engine, we'll take out the spark plug. At the same time, we can inspect it for any carbon buildup, which there isn't any on this one. But if yours is covered in carbon, it could mean your engine is burning oil, but I checked the oil level first. Just don't forget to tie down the brake handle. That'll release the brake and allow you to rotate the engine without having to fight it. With the valve cover gone, I'll rotate the engine until one rocker arm is all the way down, while the one we want to check is up and loose. I'll then use my 5/1000 of an inch feeler gauge and slide it into the clearance between the arm and the valve and see how it fits. It should just barely drag in the clearance, which it does, which means this arm is in tolerance and no adjustment is needed. We'll then rotate the engine until the arms switch places and then do the same process again. And come to find out, the other valve is in tolerance as well. What this means is that this mower wasn't used all that much in the last 2 years. I've never had the chance to inspect the clearances on a mower with low hours before, but this one might be it. And it shows that the tolerances don't change all that much in a short time. It also means that yearly inspections might not be needed, as it'll only show the slightest changes, making adjustments unneeded. And while the recoil is off the engine, this would be the time to service it if it needs it. This one, however, is working just like it should be. Now, because this mower is self-propelled, servicing the drive wheels is more important than the non-driven wheels. The reason why is because there's more there to go wrong, and the cost to repair it can be expensive. So cleaning and lubricating is a much cheaper option in comparison. Now at first, I thought there was some rope wrapped around the axle. The only problem was that it also smelled terrible. That's when I realized what it was. Turned out to be a snake that probably made its way into the gear cover, only to get wrapped up by the gear once they started to use the mower. After removing it from the mower, we'll then clean that area, trying to get rid of that smell, and then lubricate it the best we can. Yes, I did make a bit of a mess here, however the gear and the bushing that supports it is protected, so we should be okay. Wheel and self-propel maintenance does not need to happen all that often. In fact, most times, I just wait until the mower starts to become tough to maneuver before I do it again. But if you wanted to make up a schedule, say every 2 years or so, or maybe even yearly, you'd definitely be doing yourself a favor. The way I see it is that you paid extra for a feature, the least you can do is make sure it works well, at least while you have it. Now that the mower is back together, we can start it up and make sure we didn't mess something up. And as you just saw, this mower starts up and runs very well and does everything that it's supposed to do. The last things that we need to do are a very long test run, replace the air filter with a new one, and finally an oil change. So what's my opinion on why it didn't start for them? The only thing that I could think of is a tiny amount of water in the fuel that made its way to the carb. But by the time they stopped trying to start it, that water was gone. And when I happened to show up, I was able to start it with no problems whatsoever. So my question is, have you ever found anything deceased in a piece of equipment before? Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate your time here. Please feel free to ask me any questions about this project or about your own projects, and I hope to see you in the next video.